Good day, everyone. Neophyte DAG bringing you another message. And this is part two of God's laws and statutes. In this message, we're going to go over in more detail the five divine law, which is also called the cross philosophy. And just to refresh your memory, the cross philosophy is talking about you. You are the cross. You are the embodiment of those five laws. And in our last message, we touched on this particular, example of the cross philosophy being represented by the Ankh in the Egyptian time. And, the top portion is the head, the lower portion of the Ankh is the feet. Then they have the left side, which is the left hand, the right side, the right hand, and right in the center that connects the whole thing is your stomach, which governs your food, what you put in your body. And what I'm going to do in this one, there are various verses that I had on this slide. We're going to go through those verses to show you how the different parts of the cross philosophy is in the Bible, scattered all over it. You just have to put the pieces together and you'll know exactly how the Bible wants you to understand how that cross, you as the cross, is interpreted in the Bible and how you should follow some of these things that the Bible is telling you you need to do to attach yourself to the cross philosophy. So let's jump in the examples. Now the first example is taken from Genesis 1, first book of the Bible, verse 28 and 29. And in 28 it says, God blessed them. He blesses man and woman. That meaning he gives them the moral understanding to know that love God, love themselves, love their fellow man and woman, treat them fairly, treat everyone fairly. And then it says, be fruitful, meaning build your economics from the earth. Everything that's going to be part of your life, part of whatever you use to make an income, it comes from the earth. You pull it up from the earth, you did something from it, that is from the earth. Nothing beats that exception. Then it says multiply, build your social community, not social neighborhoods where you just casually live in there and you don't own anything in it, but build a community of like-minded people, righteous people who want to make sure everyone is taken care of. Then subdue your surrounding. Have political dominance over your surrounding so no one else can come in and start implementing laws that affect you and ruling over you, and you have no control over how much they want to inflict on you or create laws that is not in your advantage. Then after that in 29 it says eat fruits and herb-bearing seeds. Put that as part of your diet and appetite, what's going into your stomach. Use herb-bearing type food and fruits to put into your body to make it spiritually ready at all times. So that was the first example of the five divine laws, the cross philosophy mentioned in the Bible. Now I'm going to show you where it's scattered all throughout the Bible, and you'll see for yourself. So the next example is taken from Deuteronomy 28. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to point out, where I've highlighted the places that are specifically talking about, areas of the five divine laws. And then if you follow those laws, what will happen? And if you don't follow them as well, what will happen? So in Deuteronomy 28 verse 8, it says, and thou settest thy hands onto. So what is it saying? The Lord shall command the blessing upon you in the storehouses and in all that you set your hands onto. What hands? Your left hand and your right hand. It's telling you. What's your right hand? Political. What's your left hand? Social. So if you set your hands, your political and your social structure, then you shall be blessed in the land, wherever that land is that God has given unto you. So you have to make sure your political structure is in place. your social structure is in place, that you're following those two laws, and your blessing, God bless man, shall be there. Okay, and also, if you look further down, it says, the Lord shall establish thee and holy people. That means you're a special people unto himself. He made you special. The Adam race, the children of Israel, all one race, the descendants of the 12 tribes of Abraham, all the same people that I'm referring to. The dark-skinned race, same people. The black race, if you want to look at it from a black and white, the black race. The seed of Shem, same set of people that I'm talking about. He made you an holy people, and thou shalt keep his commandments, so you shall keep these 5 divine laws. Whether you think you're not going to, eventually you will attach yourself to these 5 divine laws, the cross philosophy, and you shall walk in his ways. And in 10, verse 10, he's telling you what's going to happen when you walk in his ways. Eventually you will. I guarantee it. And all the people of the earth shall see that you, by your arts, is called by the name of the Lord. So you're going to be the embodiment of the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid. Not only they'll be afraid, in the normal sense of how you see the word afraid, but they'll also want to be a part of what you are. They'll want to cleave onto you. They'll want to emulate what you're doing. And they'll certainly want to be in the places that you are, because you are going to be the personification of God and the Lord. And then in verse 8, and the Lord shall make you plentiful in goods, and in the fruits of the body, and in the fruits of the cattle. Whenever you see cattle, cattle means economics. It means wealth. Wherever in the Bible you see cattle, they start mentioning the word cattle. Don't think it's for you to go out and start chopping up, a cows and eating it. It means wealth. And in the fruits of the ground, and in the land which the Lord sware unto you that he's going to give you as your inheritance. So you're going to follow those laws. Trust me on that. And you're going to be in that land that God has provided to you. Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. Those are the lands that were promised unto your forefathers that will be given unto you at this point in time. And you're going to have all those things that is mentioned in 11, because you're going to follow those 5 divine laws and the 7 hermetics that's mentioned in chapter 9 of Deuteronomy 28. And just reading the highlighted section again, it says, the Lord shall open unto thee good treasures and the heaven to give rain and unto the land in the season, and to bless all the work of thine hands. He's going to bless the work of your political and your social, because you're going to do it rightfully. And thou shalt lend to other nation, and you shall not borrow anymore. So your economics now, your feet, is going to be as strong as it should be. And people will borrow from you. Nations will borrow from you, and you shall not borrow from them anymore. You weren't borrowing anyway, because no one was lending you. You could barely scrape any money to get your own house, to get a car, and you had to beg for that from banks. But now you will own the banks, you will run the nations, and other nations will come to borrow from you, and you shall borrow no more. So this is what it's telling you when you follow those commandments, and you shall follow those commandments, whether or not you want to. In time, very soon, you shall follow all those 12 commandments and the 2 statutes, because those who pick up on it and start understanding what it is, they're going to realize what's happening to them in 11, verse 11, that things are starting to get plentiful. the body. Lots of fruits is going to be developed from your body. A lot of powers will be developed from your body. Your wealth, your cattle will go up. And the things that you're pulling up from the earth, the fruits of the ground, the gold, the silver, all the metals to make whatever you want to do, and it will be presented to you. So this is a deeper meaning. I'm not going too deep in it. I'll save that for future messages, but I want you to get that understanding of the 5 divine laws, your hands, how it's presented here, and in conjunction with the laws. Continuing with Deuteronomy 28, and the Lord shall make you the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above, and thou shalt not be beneath anyone, any other nation, or any other race of people. Again, because you're going to be following these 12 laws and the 2 statutes. You are going to follow it. You have, there's no way out of this. I'm just presenting this to you early so you know what's coming. And if you listen, hearkens mean to listen, and if you listen unto the 12 laws and 2 statutes of the Lord thy God, which I command you this day to observe and do them, which goes back to take up your cross daily and follow me. That's what it means. You're going to have to do them. You're going to have to observe and do them daily. They were taken away from you, but they're coming back. And you're going to be nation builders. You're going to be money lenders. You're going to be the head, and everyone is going to come to you, because whoever is at the head now is going to be put at the tail. And they shall be beneath you, and you shall be above all. There is not a chance that's not going to happen. It's going to happen. And if you don't see what's going on around you now, where whoever is at the head, they're in an utter state of confusion, working their way rapidly to the tail. And reading Deuteronomy 28 verse 14, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee. That's why I've been telling you, you're going to follow these laws. These 12 laws and 2 statutes. It's telling you here, you shall not go anywhere outside of those words. You're going to live by those words. To the right hand, here again, we're talking about the right hand, the political, or the left, the social. You shall do both of them. And to go after other gods, you're not going to go after any more white Jesus. That's going to be out of your psyche, out of your mind. Because you're going to know that you are the God, made in the image of God. And you're going to follow the right hand, the political. You're going to be strong there. You're going to pursue that. And you're going to follow the left and start building communities and nation. And you shall not disobey any of the 12 laws and 2 statutes. Let's look at Psalms 128. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Hands keep coming up again. What's the labor of your hand? Your political on the right, your social on the left. Though you need those 2 in order to be at the head. Anyone who controls those 2 controls you. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be with thee. So once you get those 2, that happiness, that joy is going to be there. Thy wife shall be as fruitful, here we again, fruitful as the vine. So it's telling you, you're going to have that fruit. Be fruitful. What does fruitful mean? Economics. And thy children like olive plants. These are allegory. It doesn't mean your wife. It means it's going to attach to you as fruitful. It doesn't mean your children. What it does, it's telling you olive plant. You're going to have a plant-bearing diet. So whatever things that you're generating out of your life, which are your children, it's going to be because you're putting in plants into your life. And here it taps it off and says, round about your table. your food, what you're going to eat, which personifies the table because you eat at your table. Olive plants, you're going to have a plant-based diet. So that's what this allegory is telling you. You're going to be fruitful and you're going to eat herb-bearing seeds and fruits and vegetables. So your left hand, your right hand, your feet, economics to be fruitful, and your stomach, the plant. And behold, that means man be blessed and God bless man. Going back to Genesis 1, verse 28. He blessed man, he says, be fruitful, multiply, subdue. So left hand, right hand, and then have a plant-based diet. All of this is summed up in Psalms 128. It's describing to you the 5 divine laws. Let's move on to Psalms 138 now. Same thing, the hands keep coming up again. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hands, your left hand, your right hand. Which one is going to be against the wrath of your enemy? The right hand, your political hand. Because once you have that political strength, that political power, then no nations, no one, including your current enemies, can affect you. Your right hand shall save you. It's going back again to the 5 divine laws. Your right hand, your political hand, that's going to save you. And also your left hand is important because you're going to build a community of the right-minded people, righteous people. And you're going to be so strong in political power that you shall be saved from your enemy who has been using those 2 against you. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth you. Thy mercy, O Lord, endures forever. Forsake not the work of thine own hands. It's telling you, build your left hand community, your community power, your social power, and your right hand, your political power. You're going to have to move in a direction to build those 2. And it's coming, it's going to happen. And look at Jonah chapter 4 again. Hands keep coming up. Should I spare Nineveh, that great city wherein more than 60,000 persons that cannot discern, meaning cannot distinguish, cannot tell the difference between their political power and their social power, and also no wealth. Cattle again showing up, and much cattle. They don't have any cattle. They don't have any economics. They don't know what their right hand is, their political hand. Neither do they know what their left hand is, their social. So these 3 things, it's describing you as the people of Nineveh in the biblical time, which is now in our current time. You are the people of Nineveh, the people during Jonah time that Jonah was sent out to warn these people that destructions are coming to Nineveh. It's the same time we're in right now. You do not know these things were taken from you. Your right hand, your left hand, and your cattle are gone. And now you have to come back into that knowledge. And here again, 3 of those 5 divine laws, the cross philosophy, is being talked about in Jonah chapter 4, verse 11. Let's look at Job. Again, these hands keep popping up. So chapter 23 of Job, verse 9, and on the left hand, where he doth work, I cannot behold him. You have no left hand. They cannot see you on the left hand. So the Lord, Allah and God isn't there with you on the left hand, and he hideth himself on the right hand, the Lord, Thoth, and Allah, God. Then he's not with you on the right hand, so you have no left hand, you have no right hand. And I cannot see him. You cannot see God, Allah, the Lord, Thoth, in either of these, because it has been taken away from you, and now it's a time when it's being given back to you. But he knoweth the way I take when he hath tried me, and I shall come forth as gold. He's telling you now, you have gone through your punishment. It's been 400 years. You've gone through that 400 year of affliction. Now you are out of it as of 2017. You're moving now into the time of gold. My foot, your feet, what is your feet again? Your economics has held this step. His way I have kept and not declined. So now your feet are coming back. So it's telling you left hand, right hand, your foot, and your gold. That's the top of your head now. Your crown is coming back to you. And why? Neither have you going to go back on his commandments that he gave you in person. So you're going to follow those commandments. And I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than any necessary food. It's telling you now the food, it's necessary. You want that food in you. So again, this is telling you about all five. Left hand, right hand, the gold, which is the crown, the top of your head. When you see a lot of those paintings, you see a gold halo around the head, of Jesus or anyone who's holy. That means they have that spiritual connection through the pineal and the crown. That's coming back to you. You're also going to get back your foot, your economics, and then the necessary food will be part of your diet. A herb-bearing, vegetable, and fruits, and you shall follow those commandments that were given unto you by the word of God, which is in Genesis 1, verse 28, because he said, God said these things. It wasn't someone else saying, hey, you should do it because someone else said it. God tells you on that page 1 of the Bible, that he told you that you need to do these things. So it's his lips that told you those words. So next we'll look at John chapter 11, and this is talking about Lazarus. Lazarus was dead, and Lazarus is an allegory for we as the children of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, that we are dead in the knowledge of God's law, dead in the knowledge of who we are, dead in the knowledge of our spiritual consciousness. We're basically dead to everything around us. And Jesus, the person being personified as Jesus in this chapter, and not the white Jesus that you've been used to hearing about, none of that. Jesus is from the tribe of Israel, and he's a descendant of Abraham. And if the descendants of Abraham are dark-skinned people, then it only makes logical sense that the true Jesus is of the dark-skinned race. And we'll touch on that in other messages. But what this is saying, Jesus said, he that was dead in the knowledge of who he is, or who he was, and who his God is, and who the laws are, bound hands, meaning what? Your hands are tied, both hands. You have no political power, you have no social power, and your feet are tied. You have no economics. Again, we keep going back to their hands and the feet, the foot. They're tied up with grave cloth. That means they're dead. Those three things are dead within the children of Israel. Political power dead, social power is dead, and your economics is dead. It's in grave cloth. And his face, your face is what? Where's your face? Part of your head. Your moral, that connection, that halo that should be around your head is wrapped up in napkin. That is also dead. And what did the person personifying Jesus did? That person said, loose him and let him go. Loose all those bondages that bound his hands, feet, and his face. Rip them all up and turn the children of Israel loose. And let them now, in this time that we're in, start to flourish. So you're going to get your right hand and your left hand. You're going to get your feet back. Your face is going to be covered with light of gold. And your stomach is going to be filled with food from nature itself. Not from animal foods, but from food from plants. Let's look at Acts chapter 3, verse 7 through 9. And he took him by the right hand and lifted him up. Right hand again, he took by a political hand. And immediately his feet and bones were strengthened. So if you get your political power back, then your feet, your economics power is sure to come. No doubt about that. It's telling you right here. And it says once you start doing that, next thing you're going to do is start praising, attaching yourself to God the right way by following his laws and statutes. That's what's coming to you. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, again, what God is telling you, when he blesses you, God is telling you in chapter 9, you have to love one another. Love God, love yourself, love one another. You can't let each other, starve and kill each other and all this fighting amongst each other, especially as chosen people, the dark-skinned race, the children of Israel, the Adam race, whatever you want to call it. You got to come together as a community of like-minded people and love each other. And in verse 11, it says, and ye that study to be quiet and to do your own business, have your own economics. And how are you going to get that economics? By working with your own political power and your social power as you have been commanded by God to do. That's what he's saying. Be fruitful, multiply and subdue. Foot, left hand, right hand. That ye may walk honestly towards them that are without, and that ye may lack nothing. So you do those three, and you have the blessing and loving one another. You are going to walk honestly, because again, you're looking at things righteously. You're making rules and laws that are righteous, and you're treating each other righteously and honestly. And ye shall be lacking nothing at all. Everything will be given unto you. So just to recap what we've talked about, the 5 divine laws, the head, the feet, the right hand, the left hand, the stomach. We see examples after example where this is put into esoteric writing within the Bible, and now that it's a time for these knowledge to come forward, now we're making better sense of the way they were written into various parts of the Bible, giving us a coded message. Now we're uncoding that message and getting more meanings out of it. So I want you to go through, spend some time figuring out what exactly is being said in the cross philosophy, the 5 divine laws, and know that you are the cross. Every time you see yourself, especially if you're looking in a mirror, you should see the embodiment of that cross philosophy. You look at your head, you say, wow, I got to get better with myself and attaching myself to what's right, to what God wants me to do. My feet, I need to start thinking about how from an economic standpoint, I can come together with other like-minded people and build our wealth. Right hand, we're going to have to control our political power. And left hand, we're going to have to come together again as righteous people and build community and build nations. And the stomach, we're going to be eating the right thing. All of this is going to come because the way it's setting up right now, where the head is moving now to the tail, that structure is going to be toppled, where you now, the tail, are going to move up, and you have to start thinking about these things as to how you're going to build from these 5 divine laws the future that you want. But it's the Most High is going to tear down what's there now. There's no doubt about that. And whoever has any doubt in their mind, they'll get more proof as he puts it forward and put the power in you so everyone can know that you are and you were the chosen people. 10 Commandments. It covers a distorted version of the head and the left hand. It does talk about it, but the way it's explained throughout the rest of the Bible gives you a very distorted version. The version that you were given, that for morals, for God, you were given an idol and an image of white Jesus as the God. And the statute says you shall not worship idols or any graven or molten image. So you getting that image by itself of Jesus, a picture, you're in clear violation of that statute. So I'm giving you something to satisfy your moral, but at the same time, I'm letting you break another rule. And that was the sort of the trickiness around giving you things, letting you think you're solving one problem, but you're jumping in another problem. The social, what were you given? You were given, in reality, disorganized neighborhoods, a little neighborhood over there for you, one over there for you. And if you're looking at it from a U.S. standpoint, you were given housing projects. You were given bad neighborhood. And guess what? You own none of that land. Even those who have bought houses, you don't own the land. You only own the building on the land. The government can come back at any time and strip you of the land and tear down the house. So you don't own that land where you can say, this is my land and I can put whatever I want to put on it. And I can grow whatever fruits and vegetables I want to grow on it. You were never given those opportunities. Political, economics, and food were totally left out. No one told us that we needed those two, but guess what? Someone else was in charge of those two, the main two, political and economics, and they used that to keep you at the tail. And the food, definitely, they gave you the wrong food to eat. You're sick, we're in all these ailments, we're in hospitals, diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, all kind of disease with tis at the end because of the food that you were given to eat. So you're completely out of balance. And that was the way the serpent, if you haven't gotten the picture yet as to who the serpent is, and by now I hope you know who Eve is, and that's what the two put together in order to keep Adam, which is the divine connection of the spirit, man and woman, that are in the physical body of a man and woman. And Adam is the dark skin race. So use a process of elimination to figure out who Eve is, and then another process of elimination to figure out who the serpent is. I've added the checklist that I put into the last message. Again, go through it because I want you to become very familiar with this, because you are going to be practicing these laws, hands down. There's no way out of this one. It's just that the timing now is coming into play, and sooner or later, it's going to be presented to you where, hey, now I need to step up and start thinking about how I'm going to be part of all of these rules in the right way, not in the deceptive and evil way that it was presented before. So go through it, make your own assessment, and just start thinking about things to come. What I'm going to do in the next message, because I'm going to cut this short right now, but in the prodigal son, I'm going to show you how the 5 divine laws are embodied in the prodigal son. And it's a very interesting story. We've all gotten it the way everyone wanted us to get it, but now I'm going to give it to you the way it needs to be given to you so you can know what the story truly represents. It was given by the initiate, speaking as Jesus, as a allegor, as a parable. So a parable meaning there's a surface meaning and there's a deep meaning. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the deep meaning. With that, I'm going to bring this message to a close. And until next time, be blessed and have a wonderful day.